I'd like to call this meeting to order
It's going to be
at
speedy tonight, right?
7:01 p.m. on September 25th, 2019. I don't believe that Doug Bowman is excused, but he may show up in just a few minutes, maybe running a little late. So if he's here, then we'll have a full contingent tonight, so that's fantastic. So first order of business. Did everybody get the opportunity to review the minutes? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Beth, for putting those together. Very well done, and it was quite a long meeting, so I applaud you for that.
I had help.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't have to admit it.
No, it's okay. I mean, I do them and then I pass them to Beth.
Yeah.
And then we go
And
back
I
and
like
forth.
put in hyphens, like that's all I'm changing. A hyphen here,
You're the
no
hyphen
space
police.
here.
Yeah.
This person's name is spelled twice differently.
Yeah.
We won't say
He's typing
who.
very fast.
Okay.
Sure it wasn't mine.
No, it was.
It was
Very
mine.
It was mine.
Yeah. So do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the August meeting.
And I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, Doug.
Aye.
Hello, Doug. We just got started, Doug. You have bills for us to
So
review?
I have bills to review, but not to sign. Eileen, who does our bills, was out with a migraine today, and I was on the desk all afternoon, so I didn't have a chance to compile. So I'm hoping she will be in tomorrow, or I will have time tomorrow to submit for this week's warrant, which is warrant 14. So I have 13, 12, and 11. You guys signed 10 last month. So everything in the paper clip you can ignore. Anything here you can review, but you don't need to sign, and I'll go that way because you're talking.
So 14 is outstanding,
So 14 will be this week.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we miss it, it means it goes on more.
but they're already signed 13, 12, and 11?
So I signed,
Okay.
yeah, 13, 12, and 11 because that was the interim. So I'm looking for a vote to approve either the month of August through mid-September, or you can put the warrant number either way.
Got credit from them.
Yeah.
Sorry, could you repeat that? So we're looking to accept the
Except
bills.
previously signed bills that I signed in August, since our last meeting, the 28th of August. So September bills. yeah.
And they're in that stack.
So the, not the bills, but the warrant that lists all the companies and how much we paid. Because I don't have the usual stack with all the invoices because Eileen was out. And I usually bring you all the actual invoices. So right now, this is like the summary page.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's 51 pages and a lot to look through. So that's what I email out. So we submit on Thursday, and then I forward the message that Eileen sends to the accountant. It'll say like library warrant number 11, and then you've got 50 to 80 pages of here's the invoice and the summary page with the account we paid it out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these expenses, what are they from?
It's this year. It's fiscal year. We're in 20. Yeah, fiscal year.
So if it's something for a building, then we did it on the temporary location?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of expenses are being paid by like the construction account, so like the air conditioning rental. But you know, if we need to paint something, that's
Yeah,
kind
this
of
was like
local
the
building
gutters.
maintenance. So
Okay.
They were cleaned.
yep.
So why don't we give a few minutes for those to be passed around, and then we can have a motion to accept them. Okay. Great. I think the membership item was from last month's meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
yes.
Yeah.
okay, and I did remember how to pronounce it. Sepatelli, correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Good
I'm gonna
job.
keep practicing.
All right.
Okay. All right. So grant updates. The MPLCP building program grant. Beth.
We keep meeting, and how do I rotate? And we had more changes. I know, you'd think we would be done by now. So we did talk at our September 9th building committee meeting about having our project come in under budget, which means we can do all of our add alternates, which is great. Possibly add solar, which was in the original proposal, and make tech services a little bit larger. We sort of decided, you know, MBLC would like that, but it may not actually be a necessity. Anyway, we did just a little bit of revamping of this space upstairs, so we have a bigger tech services space. Because my hope would be if tech services in 15 or 20 years is everything coming in process, we don't need someone to sit there and cover books and do data entry because it's all kind of more automated. the space might turn into a meeting room or a different kind of an office. So it makes it work a little bit better. MBLC had final review of plans. They wanted to know where the changing tables were
Yeah.
in the bathrooms. They apparently aren't showing. So we're gonna go back and look at that. There was a meeting with CTA Construction. I forget what CTA stands for, but they were the chosen low bidder. They took a week to kind of assess their bid to see if it was accurate. And I guess they decided that it was. They wanted to talk about depth, how far they have to dig, because I guess our testing that we did showed sometimes you had to get down 4 feet, and then there was the bed, I forget what the word, the footings, where they could put the footings for the building. In other places, it's 11. So they needed to kind of come to agreement for how far do we own and where do we have to ask for extra money to take care of that. And because we don't want to run into what the DPW has done, we're looking at doing some extra testing so we can really be sure that the average depth and really have that be an appropriate cost. But contract is in the works. And we are looking at the first week of November, potentially a weekday morning for groundbreaking. So it feels really far away.
And what
it's
is
gonna
their
be
name
cold.
again?
CTA Construction.
And where are they from?
Uh,
Do we know?
I don't remember. Paul DuRoss is the manager who came to talk to
They have a
us.
fantastic website.
I will go there.
A lot of
Yeah.
projects are on there.
Nice project.
So the contract hasn't been signed by the BOS yet?
No, because they're still working on putting in the figures and the numbers.
Okay.
And there's like a boilerplate thing from the town, and they fill it in, and then it goes to the board. So
You'll let us know when that is signed.
yeah, it's going to be either one of the next two meetings. So one of the meetings in October.
Just curious, are they changing tables in all the bathrooms?
They were supposed to be changing tables in all of the bathrooms, including staff and gender neutral.
Great.
Yeah, yeah, that was high priority. So we just got to figure out, well, do we have the wall space to put them in, and maybe some, instead of being like horizontal against the wall and coming out flat like this, you can do a vertical one. I've even seen ones that flip down over the toilet, but you know, we've got to make sure we're also accessible and that they work. Some libraries are putting in adult-sized ones for people who are caregivers of, you know, full-size human beings who have that issue. So,
Yeah.
Or larger kids.
yeah, for larger kids. Yeah. Well, I think that's it. So I'm working on my October report due to MBLC is actually a summary of August. Because we're always like a month and a half behind.
Say that again.
Usually I do an October report, a monthly report to MBLC. Andy does the financial piece and I write all the narrative. And we send it into Mass Board. So I'm working on that now. I think I usually send it to the
That would
trustees
be
group.
good
I
to
can make
have
sure
that.
that I do.
And it's about the month of August.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about at our last meeting too about having more of a web presence. I mean, I'm putting things in my director's newsletter every month, but not everybody's subscribed to that. We've had just 2 construction updates, I think, on our website. So we're going to try and have a more concentrated effort so people know what's happening, because there's just been a lot of questions like, what's going on? It's been sitting there empty for several months.
Well, now you have more things to talk about.
Yeah.
So CTA Construction is CTA Construction.
I don't know. I don't know if
It
it's an
doesn't have,
acronym.
it's,
I don't know what it
doesn't
is.
show that
Oh,
it's an acronym.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking
Yeah.
to see.
Okay.
Okay. We don't know where
Thank
they're
you.
from.
Oh, and we did have a phone call with Mass Board of Library Commissioners to ask what happens to our grant money should our costs be under
Yes.
the construction estimate. And it was, you know, a very positive call. Our representative liaison, Lauren Stara, who has architectural background, checked in with the previous person we'd been working with who's retired, who was the construction expert, Rosemary Walthos. And she said, well, if your expenses are low, they're low. But that means that we can't give you all that money because it's a proportional reimbursement. So it just means you get less money. But we wait until the very end to figure that out. Like, we're not going to recalculate your grant. That's been done. We'll give you up to 7.4. But we're not going to give you more than that, even if your costs are higher. Like, it caps at that and you'll get less, which means then another library could reap the benefits. But they also expect us to do everything that we laid out in the project. And I think we can do that. So it doesn't jeopardize our grant if our construction company is efficient. And, you know, we are going earlier than we had anticipated. And I guess so far the price of steel is good. So.
So it
Yeah.
can be reallocated for furniture or other things?
I think so. Yeah, it should stay related to library project. Yeah. I mean, the idea was that the town would just go and borrow 16.6 million. And then we have all these estimates for all these categories. And just like my budget, some things are going to be over, some are going to be under. And it's only the eligible cost that they're giving about a 45% reimbursement. But I mean, the percentage is kind of different with the amount of money and how much we spend. And,
It's eligible construction costs.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like they pay for the construction and they'll pay to dig up the site and to smooth it, but not the paving and not the landscaping. And they'll put in the structural steel shelving, but they won't make it look pretty. So that's an ineligible cost to put wood around it or metal around it to finish it. They won't buy equipment, but they'll put in all the wiring for all the computers and all the plugs and all the electrical.
So that 16 million then may not be all eligible costs.
About 14 million is eligible cost.
Okay.
Yeah, so a significant chunk, and that's why the grant amount.
Yeah, so we could see 7.4.
We could.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is, you know, the stuff with the DPW asking to borrow the
Yes.
money,
Yeah.
that's, they've gone elsewhere for that, so that's.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, they're just asking for a straight, can we borrow more money for the project?
Okay.
Without dipping into anywhere else.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Good. Yep, yeah.
And then the building committee and Andy Duchesne, the clerk of the works, is gonna have like I think next Friday is the walkthrough. Basically a walkthrough of the existing building, just to make sure if there's anything that's still sitting around. Look through some of the landscaping outside,
Yeah, this
just to kind of do like a final list of things we have to take care of before the construction people come in.
That's good. I think it was
Well,
a
that's
little
good.
overdue.
That's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, and
That's
people are getting
exciting.
kind of anxious about, getting our stuff out of there and bringing it over to the new the temporary building.
Yeah, I don't think there's much left, but just to make sure that what is left, we definitely don't want type things.
That's really
I think
good.
it's.
Yeah, I think
That's exciting.
Beth has a list, right?
We're
We do
getting
I have a
have
list and
yeah.
I have pictures and
Okay.
We're getting
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah, and I contacted a couple of, we have a lot of withdrawn books and books from down under still. Like 20 boxes probably. And I've contacted a few used bookstores, but most don't take library books, discarded library books to sell. So I don't know. We're gonna have to dump them, recycle them.
Did you mention the date for the,
Would another library want them?
did you mention the?
First week of November.
Okay, I wasn't tripping.
I mean,
Well,
would
if
another?
we're generally withdrawing them because they're between 10 and
okay.
30 years old. Or,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sat on the shelf and didn't go out. So possibly
But
somebody's
Westboro's
we could bring them to another library books.
Westboro's book sale people would take those.
Okay, maybe I'll call them. Thank you.
So does that mean, as far as the date, yours, what date are we thinking of then?
So it'll depend on like when the construction company.
Because the first
is
week would
ready.
be like November 4th through the 8th.
Yeah, so it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what was proposed. but
Yeah,
need
we
to talk to
suggested
the
it, so it would
construction
be the
company and-
5th, 6th, or 7th.
And it's going to be in the morning.
Definitely in the morning. We'd like to do 10 o'clock, and my staff has requested that we open the library late so that they can attend. But I would need permission from this board to do that, to open at noon that day.
Do you know when
Whatever
that-
day it is.
You'll let us know when we get.
Of course, yes.
But can we
Yes.
move to make a decision for whatever day?
Yes.
That would be great.
So you said Tuesday, when, did you say?
Either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday,
Okay,
the
thank you.
5th, 6th, or 7th, pending availability of, like, all those key players, the construction company, somebody representing the architect. We are gonna invite our state reps, people from Mass Board of Library Commissioners. We started a guest list, trustees, friends, former trustees, and friends and staff.
How long do these usually last, since I've never been to one?
20, 30 minutes maybe.
Oh, so it's not like a 3-hour
No,
shindig.
No parades.
No parades?
Yeah.
photo ops, yeah.
Campaigns, beaches.
Photo- And they may,
Will you do
they
we-
may be coming in and doing site work ahead of time too. So it will have a fence and it'll have a sign and it will look like an active construction site. They might like put a pile of dirt for us to. We asked for sledgehammers, and then we could have like all the trustees have a sledgehammer and hit the old part of the building that they're demoing. But we'll see.
Why not?
Yeah.
I've been to some, we don't usually sledgehammer them.
Yeah, I'm okay with the silver shovel. Whatever it is. Okay. Any other questions for Beth? So I have the bills here. Anybody have any questions about the bills?
No?
I just had I had one item that I hadn't seen before. Is the T-Mobile line?
So-
Is that
We've had Wi-Fi hotspots.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's what those
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So, but weren't those donated by the bank initially?
Yes, but it was only for the first year.
I see.
So now we're picking up.
That's probably why I haven't seen it.
How do those work?
That's a good catch.
You can check it out and take it anywhere where T-Mobile has access. So I've used it twice, and the places I've been are so remote that I can't get a cell tower. But we can use it if, like, we're sitting on the common or doing outreach. I've used it a couple times for that. If you've moved and you don't have internet for the first week, you can check it out for that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Interesting hotspot. Yeah, we've had them for 2 years.
Do they get used?
A little bit. Yeah, probably people don't know about it very much.
As far as bills, is Jungle Gym one of our?
We had him come for a summer reading program thing.
And did he receive his payment?
As far as I
Because
know,
there's-
but I can look into it.
Yeah,
you
please
hear
do,
something?
because Allison Kusher told me that she received a message that he did not.
Was it through a grant?
That I
If
don't know.
Okay, because I know there was a performer who was not getting their money through Cultural Council, and that's kind of been like ongoing for some
I don't
reason.
remember, because I'm on
There was,
Cultural
like-
Council,
oh,
and I
okay.
don't remember us doing Jungle Gym.
All right.
We did another program for the library this past year.
Okay.
And it was an automated kickback email of overdue invoice.
Okay. I will follow up.
Thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the bills?
I move to accept the bills.
Seconded.
FY 19.
Do we have to modify it to say the ones that you signed?
Yeah. Bills for September. I guess.
Say it again.
Move to accept bills paid in
Oh, yeah.
September, signed off
Yeah.
on by the library director.
Yeah, I always,
Yeah, you have the language.
What she said, I move.
so who seconded it?
Seconded.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Katie.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have last fiscal year.
Okay. So on to the Grafton Public Library Capital Campaign.
You skipped budget review,
Oh,
but I did not bring a
sorry,
budget
budget
because I
review.
was working on the desk all day.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I will try to email it out.
Yeah,
this
emailing I
week.
think
I'm
is
sorry.
okay.
Okay.
And then
Still early.
email any questions to Beth, and we can bring them
We'll
up for
bring it up next
discussion.
Okay.
Next meeting.
Thank you.
Well, I can talk to that. Beth has told us that we're getting we have new schematics, and we're gonna get them on a single sheet for the first and second floor, and then we're looking into seeing, we need new illustrations. So the moment we have that, we'll put them back into the brochure. We had it ready to go. So we'll do that, and then we'll get going, and then we're gonna help promote this, we're gonna invite people too that have donated. So we'll do that. So we'll get going. We'll meet on it next week, I hope. So it's good. I mean, it's been really hard waiting, but we'll get there.
For you and me both. And our public.
Well, it's gonna be better,
Yeah.
so
So
I can't wait.
Beth Patch, did you ask if we would make a motion to decide on a date
Oh.
for the groundbreaking? Didn't you say that a
To-
few minutes ago?
To
Oh, yes.
decide whether staff can.
Where the staff can attend.
To open late on the date of the
I make a
groundbreaking.
motion for the library to open late on the date we break ground to be determined.
And I second that.
Yep.
That would be great for them to do that.
Any discussion?
And you said it would be like at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Probably, yeah.
Something in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Okay. What were the dates you were thinking?
November 5th, 6th,
November.
or 7th, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
It's November?
It'll be the first week of November.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess there's a
That's
chance we
different
could
than what
mobilize,
You
but
told me, I thought I heard the 15th. I guess I was wrong.
No, it's the
No,
fifth, the
no,
first
No,
week.
fifth.
Was it 5th? Okay.
Yeah.
first full week.
Beginning of November.
How much work?
That's,
How much excavation work are they gonna be able to do in November?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's good.
Because-
Depends on
It's a
our
good point.
first
Yeah, it's-
But they'll
freeze.
probably start before the groundbreaking. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get the fencing
Yeah.
up, they're gonna
Yeah.
do probably,
Point
because that's another month away.
Okay.
So hopefully
You
they'll
don't
start.
want open hole either.
what will they be able to do in November, December, and January? Do we know?
No, I
I'm assuming just like they build houses in the winter, they can build libraries in the winter, right? As soon as they,
Yep.
I mean, putting the footings down is what you need before the frost, so as
Right,
long as the
right.
footings are down,
Then
I
reps
can't
can go.
imagine it impacting much at all.
They'll just use low temperature materials.
right.
Oh, good. So they should be able to be
Just
building then.
They projected 427 consecutive days of construction.
Wow.
Even Sundays.
Wow.
427.
Consecutive days?
I have no idea if that means they're working Saturday and Sunday or not, or weekdays. It's about 16 months.
Well, if that's consecutive, that's usually what that means, right?
Oh, I don't think so.
Consecutive
No, I don't
working
think
days,
Yeah.
What does it mean in
consecutive
construction?
working days,
I'm sure it's
maybe.
consecutive.
So which I think
Oh,
implies they're not
okay.
going to take a 3-month break
Yeah.
To work
Okay.
for the cold weather.
They will be working on Christmas.
They're gonna work Monday through Friday is what you're
No,
saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
during the work week.
Doug, I don't know if this is a question for you, but did anything come up about the construction disrupting the flow of traffic in that area? Because it's kind of a tricky area. There's it's like a 3-way intersection.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, I
Did
know
you
they
have
did a construction, traffic plan for just the library that's open
yeah,
during construction. I can ask about it. I would suspect that most of the work is gonna be done on
yeah,
property, not in the road.
yeah,
Except moving in and out.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can ask about it though.
I think the real problem is gonna be with parking.
For
people-
Parking
For
the
everybody else.
common.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
they've
for
been using
convenience.
that temporary parking space that Tim made.
Comments and stuff, yeah.
And then there's construction of some kind being done on the common too. So
Oh, that's
we got
right.
alerted because of the Friends egg hunt, or sometime this spring they're going to be doing things to the common on the common.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
well,
gonna
I
be
just had an
available.
interesting thought. Do we know when the DPW is opening?
Good point.
no,
Yeah, that
So
construction's
I
almost
wonder,
done, yeah.
I wonder if that space for the current DPW would be available to, the public.
oh maybe.
It's kind of
Not
a
a lot of
a
space.
treacherous
It's a
road,
little
but
bit.
there's a sidewalk
sidewalk,
there
yeah.
as soon as you get to the post office.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe that's how we can use that space. Maybe that should be a parking area. Is it that
yeah,
far
because
away?
I don't think
I don't think it's that far away, really, because you can go through from Norcross Park. Can't you get there? We can get to the. You can get right.
Oh really? Cut through?
You can cut through the post office almost. I think.
Yeah,
That's
I know
why
you can
that
cut
land
through the
was
woods there,
considered
yeah.
for something.
No kidding.
I thought they said it was mostly wetlands, which is why they couldn't develop on the current spot to begin with.
Put on your bug spray before you go.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Sorry.
All right, very good. That's not for us to decide anyways.
That's not nice.
All right,
Yeah.
so the naming rights policy, anything there? Doug?
No, I mean, we haven't really done anything since the last meeting for that, so just all the activities that, Dana mentioned.
I'm having a blank. Did we see a policy and vote on it? I know
Yeah.
Yeah,
voted
we
on two
did.
policies, okay. So I think maybe we could probably take that one off the agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
where am I?
Just a brochure and naming rights bullets. You can just keep it as GPL capital campaign update.
Okay.
Okay, IT update?
The guy who usually comes to see us has left Coughlin support.
Oh, no.
Very sad. But Bob showed up this morning. He's the new guy. And he got our new teen laptops that I had put out connected to a printer so you can print from them. We have cable locks because they're not.
Did you get new printers eventually? Are these ones still very difficult to connect to if you show up with your laptop?
They're still really difficult if you are on laptop.
Yeah.
But ours are on the network.
Okay,
Yeah. No, actually, our copier is the lease is up.
yep,
So, but I wanted to work with the town when they do their copiers. So, because we have the same machine, and it seems like there must be a discount if both the schools and all the town departments have the same machine and the same service plan. So I'm waiting for Cindy I to say, okay, here's what you're getting, basically.
I'm
But
happy.
the staff computers print just
Yeah, I'm
it's
happy.
challenging.
I'm happy to direct you to the vendors that I use because I'm currently going through copier negotiations at one of my clients. So if you do need a recommendation, I can, if the town doesn't pan out.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He set up, so the children's room laptops weren't set up to print either. So now those can print, which is exciting. And we had a computer that was out of order and some issue with Chrome, and he was going to go do more research and come back. And next Wednesday, he's putting in our battery,
Okay.
backup battery.
Yep.
Yeah. So good response.
Do you still have to, when he does the battery swap, do you still have to worry about the downtime of the equipment?
Yeah,
attached
it'll
to it?
be up to an hour. So he's going to come at 8:30 before we open.
Yep.
And I think Sarah is kind of the only one, Sarah and the custodian, and maybe Donna. So she's going to be prepping for story time and doesn't need a computer. Donna will have to read a library journal for a little bit. She may still be on vacation, so it may not be an issue. But yeah, we'll be okay, and we'll be up and running before we reopen at 10.
I'm describing the server box that used to be attached to it.
Yeah.
That was for the old Evergreen system. Is that right?
It had
you guys do.
CWRs in there, yeah.
Okay, it was like a direct connection.
Yes, we got rid of that with the new fiscal year, though.
Yes.
And that dropped our bill down a little bit because the town was providing faster service than CWMARS could provide. And when they switched Evergreen from a software we download and install on only staff computers to a cloud-based version that we log into, that it in itself was secure enough, they didn't need the separate channel anymore.
Yeah.
So we were able to cut it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because when you have old equipment like that, you never quite know what's going to happen when you power it off.
Yeah. So yeah, they came and picked up their very old beeping modem and I think their router. So.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you. Friends update. I didn't bring my notebook. I'm sorry. I ran out of the house without it today. But I know that they finished up their cards for a cause, and they made a decent profit on that. I think they sold maybe 30 to 35 units, which I think is pretty good. And I'm trying to think of what the next fundraiser is. Oh, I think it's going to be a book sale within the children's room.
Yep.
They're looking to plan that, and it would be in one of the rooms that wouldn't be in the main reading room. It would be
The programmer.
one of the program rooms, behind a door that they can close. I don't think they would need to lock it if someone's not manning it, because they felt that a library has things to check out, and generally people don't try to steal those things generally.
Yeah.
So they weren't too worried about people trying to steal the things that were for sale. So
They're mostly respectful of the staff only areas too. So the sign on the door is staff only, and we open it and allow people in when there's a program.
Do you know how much they made off cards for a cause?
Well, if the,
I wrote it down. I don't know how much of a profit they got. I think it was a few $100s.
Yeah, I mean, if they sold 30, then
yeah,
Probably
it was
like
like $13
$400.
a box. So
like $400.
I think it was closer to 6.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the I want to say Barnes and Noble's book sale didn't really pan out very well.
Those are hard to do.
Yeah, because it's tough because there's certain restrictions on what you can and can't do. You can't really approach people who are kind of shopping. You just kind
That's
of
right.
sit there and smile, and people think you have the plague. Kind of go around and stuff. So fundraisers are hard. But I think they still have a fundraising
There's a
committee meeting
yeah.
scheduled in October. I think I read.
Yep. And I got an email from somebody who does fundraising. I forget where she used to do it. And I invited her to go to the next Friends meeting. Yeah. Like party kind of throwing parties, getting people to come to parties and spend money.
Yeah, I think the key and
Restaurant fundraisers.
this is the magic the magic key is trying to find something that people want and want to do and want to have, and it's hard when it's like diversionary stuff, like come to a paint night. I mean, those are kind of fun too, but it's hard to say, well, I want to go out and treat myself and do something kind of fun. So that's what a lot of fundraisers are. Or you feel like, oh, I really want to help out, so even though I don't really want this thing, or it's for a good cause. So I don't know.
So there is a fundraiser where you can pay off somebody to stay at home and do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So it's like, yeah, so it's like a stay-in fundraiser. So instead of me like showing up at your dance and buying two $50 tickets, I'll give you $100 and I'm just gonna stay home in my pajamas and relax. And I'll be on the donor list. They've been really successful. Yeah.
Interesting.
There's another, I
Yeah,
forget what the exact word is for it, but I suggested it, they thought it was funny. And,
It's like
They'll
when,
see if they do it.
when they were selling Girl Scout cookies, I refused to buy all the Girl Scout cookies. I said, I'll just give you money.
yeah.
Right? So-
You can always donate to the food bank or the troops.
Yeah. Yes.
At the Friends meeting, did they mention anything about just membership in general, like what what numbers they have and how often they contact and reach out to them?
Not at this meeting because I think the membership chair was not there.
Okay.
I think maybe he hasn't been there for a few meetings.
Yeah.
So
It's,
the membership chair?
I never get,
yeah.
we never
They're
get,
supposed to be doing them now on a rolling monthly basis, like just a quick reminder. Like your membership's expired.
Yeah.
There's around 165 on the list that I have because every time they update it, they do send it to me because we use that to check against for the bag discount, $2 off. If you're a Friends member and you want to buy a nice canvas bag.
But do they, like, the thing I'm surprised
doing
is
a
I never
mailing
get any mailings from them at all.
I think it's because
Whether
they
email or snail mail.
neither do staff. I think it's because they assume that staff and trustees and the Friends board know that they're just going to pay at some point, so they don't chase us down for it. But they do an annual mailing, and they talked about a date for their postcard.
But I
mailing in
even mean
November.
like the cards for a cause. I don't get anything from them. I get the thing that you send out where you
Yes.
include it with all the other library stuff, but not specifically from the Friends.
Yes, so we also talked. I think we talked at the last meeting for the Friends too about one of them using our constant
yeah, I was
contact
gonna
to
say,
send out
can't
their
they use
own
constant
email.
contact?
news.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Because
think
even to
you'll
recruit
see-
And then they
help
wouldn't
and
have to
all
pay
that
for
stuff
it.
is so useful.
Nonprofits sometimes get it for free.
Yeah.
They were using,
Yeah. Or they were going to switch to
MailChimp?
MailChimp. Was that
They
it?
were
They were
u-
trying to debate what they were going to do.
no, they had MailChimp, but I don't
Yeah.
know that it was working out well for them. So there was discussion, like you said, to use a constant contact.
Yeah.
And I think it was talked about how much it cost. And I don't-
Yeah, but we paid for it.
Right.
They should use yours then.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get it free though.
And there was some discussion about solicitation where the Friends are allowed to solicit, whereas the library's not.
Right.
So she has to be very careful about what she puts on her the library newsletter versus with the Friends. So I think it was agreed that the Friends would do their own newsletter rather than trying to tag it on. Like Doug, you said, that's the newsletter that you get, and that's when you look at. It'd be easy just to kind of tag their stuff on it, but
Yep.
We always have at the very bottom any Friends update, their next meeting dates.
Yeah.
But you have to read all the way through.
yeah.
And the only people who read all the way through are the ones who get the knitting newsletter. Like the click rate for that is like 70-80%. And it's about 36 or 39 for a general newsletter. And then even less actually like click on the links once they're in the newsletter.
I might not be getting it.
Yeah.
But what you were saying is they could use your constant
They
contact
could.
account. so
It would
that
just
they
be a
wouldn't
separate news, like separate email.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what they should do. And
Yeah.
then they don't have to pay for it.
Okay. So maybe I'll have more at the next meeting, but if anybody would like to attend the next Friends meeting, I'm happy to.
When is it?
Yeah, when is
Rosh
it?
Hashanah.
Yeah,
The first I can't attend.
It's not really
It's
Rosh
night
Hashanah.
2 of Rosh Hashanah.
yeah. It's usually the second Tuesday of the month.
Let's see.
Oh, I thought they moved it to the
8th?
first.
Oh, it might be the
I
first.
think they switched to the first Tuesday.
First or second Tuesday. See if
I
have
thought it was the first. I could be wrong. The fundraising one is the 22nd.
Sorry, I don't have it on my calendar.
Oh, I don't see it on their website either.
I can make an action item to get that date.
Okay.
So you may be interested in going if you can.
I could do the 1st, but not the 8th.
Okay, great. Okay. Landscape garden.
I'll just, well, it remains that there's still stuff over at the library, and I've had lots of promises. And I will say that it is improving over at St. Andrews. I've been pulling weeds, and actually their gardens over there are quite nice, but they're getting gargantuan weeds. So, and I think we're just kind of at a stagnant point. So.
Well, I enjoyed your update in the minutes. There was quite a bit of information there. So what did really well was the the fruits and herbs.
The fruits and herbs
Yeah.
did very well. The tomatoes and other things just did really terribly. I don't think it's a spot. I just think it was buying the old plants that were just left over in the stores.
Yeah.
And they had already probably passed through many hands, and they just weren't really happy to be growing.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't discouraged about that, and most of what's in the pots right now will come back next year.
Awesome.
So, what do where do the fruits and herbs and stuff go? You just pull them and bring them into the library. Do patrons
Sometimes
get
they're
that?
pulled.
Yeah.
If we had a lot of fruit or something, it would go to people who need it.
Yeah.
And mostly, I think, like there was blueberries and strawberries, and there was cherry tomatoes, and people were just eating them out while they were outside. So that's fine.
So this is kind of your first foray with this new garden space. The garden space at the Common was fantastic, and I know a lot of people like to browse it and kind of pull things and eat things and stuff too. Did you find that it just the space isn't really conducive to that?
Oh, I think it is, and I think it very much is. And that was just a last minute thing to do. We hadn't really discussed whether I was going to do anything. I'm always happy to do that, but it was last minute.
So you think you'd do it again next year?
Of
Okay.
course.
Excellent. Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
All right. Any noise complaints? I know it wasn't noise complaints before. It was tripping hazards.
Tripping hazard. Yeah. Oh, so one of the things I put in my report, there's a corner. So we've got like this altar, but then there's a railing. So there's like a step that sticks out. So Heidi made this amazing Alice in Wonderland themed streamer that she hung way up that kind of hangs over the corner, so you're not cutting the corner too close and walking and tripping. So that's pretty cool. I took a picture of that. I don't think I had anybody get hurt last month.
That's good.
Yeah. Complaints are parking and lighting, both inside and out. It's just dark. It's a dark location.
It's really bad. I was there. I've been there. It's really
Really, really dark in
so
the adult
no-
section.
Yeah. So no
Yeah.
space issues.
No we have adults who like to sit in the teen space and in the children's space.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
and we do tell them that during, at least during non-school hours, that space is a priority for those kids and their caregivers.
Yep.
Even if it's empty, because a teen does not want to walk into the teen room at 3:00 and see an adult sitting there on the laptop.
Yeah.
So we've been sort of protecting their space and advocating for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
the
I
hard
think-
thing is that patron might not know because the team just kind of walks in and walks away.
Exactly,
They might not even
yeah,
know
so you
that
wanna
someone.
Yeah.
Keep it
Yeah.
open.
Do you know why they're sitting? Why people are going in?
Because it's a cool space.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Because it feels a little private, and also because honestly, we just don't have enough study space and tables. We had a tutor and tutee who went into one of the rooms and closed the door, blocking off access to a collection.
Yeah.
And on another occasion, we had a patron go in and like she thought the lights were too bright, so she turned off the lights. And we're like, it's not your living room.
Yeah.
This is for everybody, so we have to share.
Oh my goodness.
And then the parking still is an issue. We had somebody come in very upset because they almost got into an accident as they were trying to come up the hill and park, and someone was going to back up, and then they pulled in to let the person by, and they didn't pull in enough. I'm not quite sure
tight.
exactly what happened.
Tight
It's
parking still,
it's
yeah.
tight, and there's not enough spaces. I was asked by town administrator to reach out to who we think is next of kin or one of the two owners of the property next door to us. Not living locally, and they just found the name on Facebook and said, well, you go ahead and send her a message on behalf of the town and the library and contact her to see if she would be open to talking about the space. So I did that, but I have not heard back. So I figured I'd give her a little time to notice she has a Facebook message, and then if
It's
I have
not
to
marked as
post,
red.
no, if I have to post directly to her wall to say, hey, can you get in touch with me? Or check your
Are you
message.
comfortable having that role? Or should
Yeah, why should you have that role?
I'm happy to do it. It's my property and my
'Cause you'll get it
problem.
Well, are you
And-
actually happy to
Yeah,
do it?
it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think once it gets to a point, then I'm gonna say, I can't help you with that at this point. But, you know, now you need to talk to somebody else.
You'll get it.
But I got
done.
the name, so,
Okay.
Right.
well, if she responds. She's
Do
trying
we-
to respond.
Yeah.
Do we have any concerns about that parking lot once it gets icy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we did,
That's what I'm saying.
we did I told him that we had some flat tires
Yeah.
with staff.
Low pressure.
And I'm not sure if it was people in the lot or people parking off of the lot, because we've sort of got this grassy space.
And there's some
where the
construction
staff are
nails,
parking.
or carpenter nails.
I don't know.
possibly?
I mean, there hasn't been any construction or carpentry.
I think somebody told
really.
me that they got a carpenter nail or a construction nail on a tire also.
I mean, they're doing street work. It's not.
Wow, so where were they parking?
So as you first come in, there's like a do not park triangle painted down on
Yeah.
on that turn, and then a bunch of spaces in the handicap space, and then on the other side the spaces go all the way down to the street light. But there's kind of an L-shaped space, so you can't park all the way down to the street because that's the lane to come into the driveway. But beyond the lane, there's grass and a little bit of gravel. I don't know if it's our property or the next door neighbor's property, but that's where staff had been parking to free up the lined parking spaces for patrons. There's room for 4 cars. It's tight. And then after we have 4 staff parked there, then we're over at Trek Stop or to Spa by arrangement. It's not enough space. So we didn't do a sweep of that grassy space where the staff are parking. But I think I had 1 or 2 who said, I'm just not parking there anymore. I said, that's fine.
Yeah.
And when the winter comes, staff are going to have to park in those spaces. They're not going to be able to walk anywhere.
Too far, yeah.
But Tim sent a street sweeper to come through and do a sweep of the lot. He's really responsive.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it was a staff, 2 staff members and a patron have gotten flat tires in the last month. So I have incident reports for all of them.
So where were they parked when they were getting the flat tires?
And that grass.
I don't know if it was
grassy
grass. Well,
area.
the patron wasn't though.
But it's hard to know if
Right.
it happened
Site.
in the lot or it happened. In
Yeah,
the
and
road
it
at the
happened and
end.
you drove in and then noticed it was deflated. So as a precaution, we did a cleaning of the
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, that was a smart idea to sweeper.
And then as far as the darkness goes, we do have 4 exterior spotlights now that keep the front of the building lit when you get about to that round donut in the middle
Yeah.
planter. And so from there to the doors, it's great. But at night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, once you get past that, it's still really dark and hard to see. So Tim and possibly Andy and Doug, right? Or Aaron? You went out to look at it at night.
Yeah, it was Tim and
It was
I.
dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim and I went there about closing, and he showed up before I did and was able to walk through the library and try to find all the light switches. And he found some light switches, but the lights didn't turn on. So he put it as an action item to go and check the lights to see if they just need new bulbs or if there's electrical problems. But there's at least one on top of the building, you know, right at in front of the cross, you know, right at the entrance. And then there's 4 lights that are kind of inset into the roof space that shine down on the entryway that are out as well. And then there's one that actually is on the telephone pole, right when you pull in, that points into the lot
That might help.
towards the
That would help a lot.
library.
That would
right.
help.
Right. So
Because
I don't-
where I was, like
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
what you said, I was in the middle and it was pitch black. I mean, I couldn't see it.
yeah, I think that's probably what that one was for. It's just been disused and nobody knew that it was there to begin with. But Tim was good about, you know, spotting all of them, and they're actually going to install another light. So there's one at that side entrance
Okay.
that they installed, right?
Yeah.
Where that donut shaped thing was, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But then he's going to put one on the opposite corner of the building too. So I think the only comment there is, you know, we met probably 3 weeks ago, and he was really good about, you know, listing that out and emailing it to us right away, saying here's what I saw, here's what we're going to do. So I don't know, kind of where the buck drops.
Yeah, I can give him a nudge. He was going to meet with the building inspector,
Yeah.
and Andy, building inspector's mother, passed away. So he's
Okay.
been out sitting Shiva. So that's part of the delay. We
Okay.
haven't been able to talk with him. So, yeah, I'll give him a nudge.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the only concern there. And also some of the staff were questioning me about it. So I don't know if we just need to let them know that's something that we're, looking into, and that we have,
They know.
some
How much
action.
longer do you think that might take to get it resolved?
Well, it's been since June.
Because we really,
It's only
because you know what's gonna
darker
happen
earlier
now,
and-
it's
Yeah.
getting darker, and if it gets icy,
Oh,
we'll
gosh.
be in real bad trouble. Do
Pa-
you want one of us to help?
patrons complaining and doing say click fix is
Okay.
the most effective
Yes.
Oh, okay.
means of getting it done
Can I just bring up the lighting
in
in
the
the
building.
adult section?
Yeah,
It's really, I know,
yeah.
but it really is a problem.
I think all I can do is buy flashlights and put them at the end of the stack. So when you need to go and find a book, you can.
Can you
Use
not
a
put,
light
like,
to
little,
see, I mean,
like,
there's
almost
no-
like desk lamps on top of the stacks?
You need to run a lot of cords.
Should we get the minor things?
I mean, we could do LED.
That's what I mean, but
uh,
just run an extension cord down the top of the stacks and put like 2 or 3 lamps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the
maybe we
thing
should
is,
do that.
those lamps are only,
As long as they don't get too
How
hot
about
and
a
burn the
rope lighting?
place.
Like
True.
rope
I was
lighting?
gonna say, yeah,
you need
I
a lot
suggested
of
rope
those.
That's what I
lighting.
was
I
thinking,
think
like
that might
maybe
be
4
the
or
best.
A rope?
yeah.
I don't know.
Rope lighting,
I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, so that you could just plug in one end and it just
Yeah.
add a whole bunch
Yeah,
together.
it's just not that cheap.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
So I actually like the
Might be.
flashlight idea, to be honest, because it emphasizes that this is temporary.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
we don't want to spend a lot
and
of
we
money.
don't need to make it perfect.
Well, how
How
much,
many people have strings of Christmas lights that they don't use?
I mean, how much is the rope
You
lighting?
can't have the
Yeah.
ones in my office.
How much does rope lighting cost?
I don't know. I bought some for my
I
basement,
mean,
but I don't remember.
I'm sure it's probably a couple $100 to do all
To do all
4
of that
rows or whatever.
space.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it if you want to ask my opinion, because people are unhappy.
Yeah.
You should be able to
not
see
in
the
my-
books. You shouldn't have to use a flashlight to see what books. Because you don't, you want to kind of look at them and then choose. What if you don't know what you want? So you got to look at every single book with a flashlight. And when can
I'm on
adults
Home
get there after work and it's dark?
So I'm on Home Depot, and you can get rope lighting starting at $18
Okay. For how many feet?
for 24 feet.
The only thing I worry about rope lighting is, so you're gonna light the top of the rack, and then you're gonna look down a row and you're not gonna see it because there's gonna be
Yeah.
all these shadows. Like, you really need more of a.
Yeah.
But I mean, rope lighting
Yeah.
might be better than nothing.
Would it be worth it to have someone come in and look at it and give us an idea?
I mean, the electricians came in and looked at it and swapped out the bulbs for what
could
they
they
felt
give
that
us,
the
like, some
building could
solution?
handle.
No, but I mean a lighting person that would come in and say, this is what you could, why don't you do X, Y, Z? I mean, because you just brought up that
Yeah.
that rope won't work.
No.
It's not our.
I don't think
It's
it'll
not
work.
our
I mean,
building,
I'd have to look at. We'd have to look
Yeah.
at the way
and we're
the
only
stacks
going to
are.
be there for another year and a half. It just
That's a long
seems
time,
like a lot
let's
of.
see, but
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can table that one.
Yeah.
Right.
See what happens.
Or,
One of us just
yeah,
see if we can help out.
does somebody want to take it as an
Yeah.
action item to
I'll
see if?
take it as an action item to research some lighting that
Yeah.
we could do.
Look at the space and see what might work. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
All right.
what I was
excellent, I like
thinking.
that.
be good.
Thank you.
One of those ones that has the.
I think we should consider paying for
There you
it,
go.
the trustees.
Yeah, I mean,
See
even if
how
it's
much it is.
$200 or $300,
I mean, if you keep people happy, because if they're not happy, it's gonna,
They're
it's
not
not
gonna
a
come.
good thing.
Yeah.
you just have to work with the
Put it on every single shelf.
building inspector to make sure that they're gonna
Right.
be okay with these.
Right.
We'd have to
string
do
lights
that
going
before we
across.
do it.
Yes.
It is also capacity of the electrical for the building. So with the air conditioners running, we weren't getting brownouts, but we would get sort of like pauses.
We won't be running AC for much longer.
They already
It's
took it
gone.
away.
It's already away.
They took it
LEDs.
away
I've been
like a
running
month
AC at my
ago.
house. That's the only.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
told them
90
that
degrees last week.
they need to leave it longer next year because we have women of a certain age and it's too hot. It's too hot today.
And LEDs shouldn't draw a lot, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yes.
All right.
I think that would be great. That's a good thing. Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Okay. So we did a staff oh, well,
Yeah, we talked about it.
let's talk about staff appreciation. Thank you, everybody, for donating some items for their staff
Thank
development.
you. We ate for like 3 days. Thank
Yay.
you, thank you, thank you.
Good. I'm glad
Yeah,
it
it's really
all went
nice.
to good use. So staff appreciation, generally the trustees will offer a space, sometimes at someone's home, generally at someone's home, to have an evening where we will cater some food, beer and wine and sodas and drinks, and just to thank the librarians for the work that they do in making the library such a great asset to Grafton. Because I really think it is an asset. You know, whereas sometimes in other towns people don't see it as an asset. So, so what I would like to just have a quick discussion about is, you know, a date when we want to do that. Generally, we do it in September, so we're kind of late to the game here, and we probably want to do it before November when all the holidays start to pile up. So saying we should do it fairly soon in
Someone's house.
October.
In somebody's house.
Yeah.
I have space.
Well, Beth.
So I think the only,
What's,
oh, maybe
That would
that's
be
what I was gonna
nice.
say.
Because Doug's done it several years.
What? Well, I was just gonna say, some of the feedback and so yeah, the past
Yeah.
Thanks.
many years, we've done it at someone's house, and it's,
Yes.
I think it's Friday night, right? Because,
Usually, yeah.
yeah.
I thought some of the feedback we received last year was that they were looking for maybe a change of something, like a little bit different, whether it was a catered lunch.
Well, we kind of gave to
Okay.
professional development. I mean, some of us, I don't know.
Yeah,
Should we
Yeah.
continue
But-
doing
I
that?
don't know, Beth, if you have.
Yeah, we have another one in March.
Yeah, so I guess Beth, I guess, you know, what would the staff like
I
for
think
appreciation?
I think we'd have to pull them because I don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable because I think it's mixed.
It is mixed
Yeah.
because when
I
I
like
went to
both.
Marilyn's birthday party,
Yeah,
which was very nice, and there was one. I think there was like 11 of us or
Yeah, it
12
was
of us at
more
the
than half.
table, and they all really, really like the staff appreciation event, and it gives them the opportunity to actually sit and visit with each other, which even though they're together many days of the week, they don't really get to visit. And so they were saying, that group was
Yeah.
saying that they really liked doing that.
okay.
Plus, it gives them the opportunity to sit and visit with you. And so, in that vein, but I don't know about the
I-
people who weren't there.
Right.
I feel like since I've been on board, we've done it either late August or sometime in September, and it's still when people are taking vacations too. You're never gonna get everybody,
Yeah.
but when the weather's nice, it is harder to pull people together.
I really
So
like the
maybe we
staff
should propose-
appreciation.
Maybe we should just propose a date to do the usual, but since it's later in the year, maybe everyone can make it.
Yeah, and it's. I think we need to emphasize that it's not required
Yes.
because
Right.
there's some
Yes.
people who would rather just try to do something different because they either work all day and then they just want to go home to see their families.
Yeah.
You know, and not have to go to an appreciation event, but it's appreciation. We appreciate you. You know, we don't need to be there to be appreciated.
Or they
So-
just come for a quick
Right.
appetizer. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
offer our space. We host large dinner parties all the time. So it's a good environment, and including children. We just throw them in a different level of the house. So it works out really well. We have an open plan in the house and a piano, and if I have enough wine, I'll entertain. Or
We'll
something.
bring ukuleles.
Yeah, that would be, that would be great.
That was
yeah.
fun.
Josh will bring
Yeah,
his
yeah,
gumbo.
we could jam,
Yes.
and so if that works, it has to be in October. I think on Halloween. Actually, we're going to be traveling overseas, so we'll start Halloween. But yeah, I would be happy to host, and it'll be great for me to meet everybody too. So
Do you have any dates that in October that would work on those Fridays?
That's great.
Maybe we sort of propose those to the staff?
yeah, any Friday in October, other than when is okay. Yeah, because we're leaving on Halloween, so
So we have
4, 11, 18,
Next Friday is
25.
probably too soon.
Maybe
Yes.
too soon, yeah, especially since
the
I have
The
a party
11th,
on Friday.
18th, or 25th?
The 11th is the beginning of Columbus Day weekend.
Oh,
don't know
okay,
that.
okay.
I won't be here.
So
the 25th. I'm getting bat mitzvahed on the 26th, so I'm doing my dunk on Friday, and I will not be available on the 25th.
Oh, the
'cause I'm
18th of
having people
October?
That leaves
The 25th.
No, I'm saying that.
So
before
the
it's
yeah,
18th.
process of elimination, October 18th.
over. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's not Dungeons and Dragons night. We're good.
I won't be here, but I'm only one.
My dad's birthday.
You won't be here?
I won't be here the 18th.
Oh, you won't be?
No. Be in Virginia. Visiting my college kid.
Oh, nice.
that'd be
It's like
Fun.
parents' weekend or whatever, yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
where is he?
University of Virginia,
Oh,
Charlottesville.
Nice.
We can,
but I'm only one.
we'll Skype you in a little bit.
Yes,
Yes.
I can FaceTime you or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I considered my space, my
Oh,
new
your new
house
house.
on Institute Road. But our parking situation is very difficult to host a lot of people. So I think your space is fantastic, and I'm happy
Okay.
that you offered it because you live in a neighborhood that doesn't have
We have a wide
ton of-
road,
Yes,
yeah,
and a lot of
yeah.
people can park on the street.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Right,
Okay.
thank you.
So
that'll be fun.
You were
can we leave that to you, Beth?
Yeah.
We'll get in touch and,
Okay.
okay.
Excellent. And so generally, what we'll do is we'll offer $20 to $30 from each of us, and a dessert and like a bottle of wine. I think the wine goes
Rosé.
is more popular with the staff than the beer. I think Doug's ordered some beer.
We did,
White
we did a lot of
Rosé.
wine last year.
Oh, rosé.
Rosé.
I'm just gonna bring
Except for
White Claw
the
for
white
everybody.
goes really quick.
wine. It's
Natty
the
Light.
ratio,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Pinot
I
ratio.
think we ended up in
Go to
my,
I'll go to
my wine
Pecorino.
rack for
Go to
a
my
bunch of
neighbor's
them
shop.
too. It was a lot of wine.
Pecorino?
I thought sangria was popular
So
too.
Pinot,
I think
Pinot
some-
Grigio, right?
The white, I think it was the
Like
white
what I brought for
sangria.
your wedding.
Yeah, she always has a good selection.
So,
right.
Daniela, would you take on? I know you're hosting, but would you take on?
Would you want me to investigate wine?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
Just really how we might cater it, because
Oh, okay.
we've done some things from like
Wegmans.
Wegmans or BJ's,
That's what
like,
we did, yeah,
or
BJ's.
we've gotten some,
Sure, if we give
some
me
like
a
sandwiches.
approximate number and eat, like, who's vegetarian, pescatarian, omnivore, allergy, and then I'll just come up with ideas, yeah.
Do you want some help with that? Reach
Sure,
out.
if anybody wants to do some party planning, that's fine with me, you know. I'm used to a diverse audience, so
Yeah.
I can usually, figure that out.
Daniela, I'll put my time in with that, so
All right,
yeah.
that'll be
So
fun.
Karen
I'll
and
be
Daniel.
co-host with
Yeah,
that.
all right,
Awesome, thank you.
thanks.
And things like utensils,
Yeah,
I can help
paper
with that.
plates and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
I might even have some in storage.
Yeah, I have a lot of that at my
Yeah, I
house
was
already.
thinking I have the same thing. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. That works,
Great.
thanks.
Great.
Thank you,
Okay, so thank you for quarterbacking that.
that'll be fun.
All right. Where are we on the agenda?
2020
Voting on
dates.
2020 meeting dates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I sent it to everybody,
Yeah,
and I will say that at least one person in the room would like to change at least 2 dates, correct?
Two. I think there was one.
Okay. And then just making sure that for Christmas and Thanksgiving, that the dates are doable for everybody.
Not sure how far buried in my email this
Right.
is.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Right?
I'm looking now.
pull it
Yeah, I
up.
mean, it just says
I
Okay.
missed it.
Yes.
fourth Wednesday.
It went out, I think,
Yeah.
yesterday, but I forget what date I didn't like.
that's,
Yeah, those are the.
There's a
days.
Jewish holiday on one of these. It's probably
Can't we just vote this one in and then change it?
As we
within a
go
month or
along,
two,
as
month
long
or
as,
two?
say, the
Yeah.
first 2 months are okay.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
yeah,
Yeah, first one
So I
was
can
fine.
get it to Cindy.
Okay,
okay.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
I motion to accept the 2020 meeting dates.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
It's perfect.
Very good.
and then holiday closing dates.
Yeah,
We
this
vote on
one
those.
I didn't get the opportunity to look at yet.
It looked like it's the usual, right? I
Yeah,
didn't see
it
anything
looks like-
different
Yeah.
from last year.
Yeah.
I think I picked 2 dates for professional development, March 13th. Usually I do 3, and I'd eventually like to do it quarterly, but March and September. I dropped the June one.
Okay.
Just half days.
The only one that I'm interested in is the Saturdays, because I think I did see one Saturday there. The
Yep.
Memorial Day.
and,
weekend.
And Labor Day.
Labor Day, we close Saturday.
Right, so whenever you have kind of that Monday holiday, usually close on Saturday.
No, because
No.
we don't close Saturday of Columbus Day. We don't close Saturday of President's Day, and we don't close Saturday if it's connected to Veterans Day,
Yeah.
which might be a Friday. Usually it's a Friday or Monday. Sometimes it's midweek. So it's just because we feel like, I don't know, it just seems like those are the weekends people go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either,
Yeah.
Does anybody come to
Labor
the
Day.
library then?
oh,
you
our
have
book
much-
drop is stuffed full. It's crazy. Yeah. We had books actually get damaged over Labor Day because I forgot to assign somebody to come in and empty it like on Sunday.
okay.
But we've never
Before the
gotten any
holiday.
complaints about taking those.
But no.
Never,
them
not
off.
one.
No, and I did compare. I think I compared to Shrewsbury, and we take like the same, like they are open all the other Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean, especially if staff isn't complaining that they're not working that
They
day.
can. I mean, they have leave. They have leave time.
It seems like,
Yeah, I
you
think
wanna give
that
them the whole weekend.
I
for
had-
those long
That's
weekends.
nice.
Those two.
I think I had wanted to look at July 4th.
Yeah, what's happening
Like, just-
there?
So it's a Saturday, so we're closed anyway. I didn't look at the town holiday. Like, I don't know if the town is
That was
just
my
not
question.
doing it,
Yeah.
or if there's going to be another like surprise. You can have the third
better-
off.
yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
the,
And
we,
then we're-
we needed to look at the state because the town goes by the state time.
Okay.
I apologize because I didn't
Yeah.
actually look at that, but.
I think I looked at the town one, and there was no holiday
I
for
think
staff
it's
that
either
week.
Friday or Monday
So
that the
thinking,
state is off.
There's
And the
gotta be a
town
day.
follows the states.
Okay.
So there'll be one more day in there.
So
interesting.
there, I will check it out tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good.
Great.
Are
Does
you
that
looking
mean
it
in
up?
that example,
I'm
would they
trying to,
get
yeah.
paid both those days then?
So here's the
They
thing.
have
If,
Friday, July 3rd. The state has Friday, July 3rd off.
So it's the Friday.
Okay.
Okay, so should I just add that? The
Yeah.
Friday?
yeah.
At least according to Google.
But-
Oh no, here's the site. It is.
Well, and then the question: if the state is taking the holiday on the 3rd, and we happen to be open on Saturday, unlike most state and town departments,
Right.
do we also get that Saturday? And I would advocate for yes, we should have. The
That's what
holiday.
I just asked that, yeah.
So would that be, because some of these are unpaid when
Yeah.
there's Saturday
So-
closings?
Yeah. So every Saturday is unpaid because it's a swing day. So if you're on Saturday, you've taken a day off during the week to make up for it. So you're only working 5 days out of the 6 that were open in any given week.
Oh, okay.
So if we're closed on Saturday, then everybody works their usual day off for Saturday, so they get their full pay. Saturday is never a paid holiday.
Oh,
So it's just sort of a clue for staff.
Oh, I
We're
see.
closed, so if you were scheduled for that Saturday, you need to make up those hours
We can always
with
So,
holes in the
okay,
schedule.
so 4th of July, the
Yeah.
3rd would be paid and the other day wouldn't be.
Exactly. Yep.
I make a motion to accept the holidays.
Because you didn't
as
put
published.
unpaid. in
With
that.
the inclusion, with the inclusion of July 3rd?
Yeah.
If it's,
It's actually,
Add July.
when I'm looking at it, it's kind of unclear.
I got it right here. I
And it says July 3rd?
I'm looking right
Is
now.
this like,
Plus, we should say that
Well, the
the
thing is,
Independence
this
Day
says
is
July
closed, but it's
3rd,
unpaid.
but there's this legal holiday one, but I'm thinking this legal holidays is like when stores are closed, liquor stores, banks and stuff like that, not
It'll be the 3rd
necessarily.
because they wouldn't do it after the
thing.
holiday.
And
Who
this
knows
is a
if that's
Google
real,
thing,
It'd be the
right?
3rd. No one will be there.
So I'm not sure if that is when the state employees have the day
Well, I
off.
got the state employee one right up here.
Oh, all right,
So I'm just,
I'd be shocked if it wasn't the 3rd,
all right.
because it's logical.
Yeah, if we can work this out now. that'd be
all
great.
holidays falling on Sunday, must be observed on Monday under state law. Saturday holidays are observed on
Saturday?
Saturday.
Right, which implies that they don't get Friday off. That's what I read. That's why it's confusing.
But I
when you
don't
read it.
work Saturdays at my state job, so they will give us Friday or Monday off. I'll have to find out tomorrow.
Why
I'll
don't we-
find
Yeah.
out tomorrow.
I know the military gets
This
the
is
Friday.
talking about liquor stores and everything.
So I have a thing here that says a list of all legal holidays observed in Massachusetts state, county, and municipal offices are closed on the days listed above. And for the 4th of July is just Saturday.
That's what
Okay.
I just read.
Yeah.
However, I've worked for the state 32 years and never, I always had a Monday or a Friday off for the 4th. So, I'll let you know, I'll email you tomorrow.
So then maybe, like you
can
said,
just
just
push-
move to accept these here.
Yeah, I mean, we can always, can't we always?
Yeah,
move
we
to
could
accept
update if she
Friday?
thinks it. I mean, the 4th sounds logical. I mean, the 3rd.
And I do need to send it to Tim for review too, and he may have input or know more than I do.
Okay,
Than we
We have
do.
a motion and a
so I'll,
second, do we?
So
fix it and
then-
send it to you tomorrow.
All right, I think there was a motion on the
There was,
table.
there was a motion, but if we want to add Friday, then I guess we reject the motion.
Well, you're supposed to make a motion, second it, and then discuss, and then
Right.
vote.
So if you make a motion,
Actually, no one seconded.
Yeah.
you're making a motion to accept what is
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
And then if there's a change, we will.
Add it
Deal
to a
with it
future
then.
meeting.
So Doug, you made a motion to accept.
I
Katie
seconded.
seconded.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Katie.
All right.
I will say that I don't want to put my staff in a position of feelings from other departments that it's not fair that we're going to get Friday if the municipal center is not going to.
Right.
That's what
Exactly.
I'm worried, that's what.
But nor do I want them to lose out if the Board of Selectmen votes in June that they're going to close on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
It's really hard for us to close
we
on
need
short
to look at
notice.
that now,
Yeah.
and Tim does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the motion
Okay,
was to
thanks.
accept these dates as posted. Okay, and it's seconded.
Yeah.
Okay, and we
Yeah.
discussed, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
I would be shocked
Okay.
if you don't get the third.
yeah,
Okay,
same.
Same.
right.
The next one is this.
Contact list.
Yeah.
This goes to Cindy Hyde
That,
and,
that,
the
that
clerk.
is so valuable to have because I
Oh, it's all
always
your
forget
phone
what
numbers,
Doug's
yeah.
address is whenever I need to go visit him.
Don't look, don't
Ah,
look.
I had to search through my
Sorry.
email to try to
Yeah.
find your address. Yeah.
I don't
It's
see
a,
that I
it's a
got
funny
that
street
email,
because
why?
The numbers are messed
I
up.
came up Pullard, I think. Is it Pullard, the one that kind of meets up with
Yeah, there's Pullard and Bruce.
Bruce,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know.
And coming up Pullard, I continue on up Bruce, but I've already missed your street.
Right. But even our
It's like-
street, like, we're 32 and across the street is like 53 or something. The numbers are messed up, the odd and evens.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I found you. All right.
Anyways,
So what would you like us just to look it
Just
over,
to
make sure
confirm that
that
it's
no correction?
okay, and then
Mine's
approve
fine.
it.
I thought we
Mine looks good.
Mine is good.
Good.
Um,
Thank you, Beth.
I don't know why I don't have these. Do you have it in front of you?
Didn't get it either.
You looking at yours? Oh, no, you,
Yeah.
this is still your
so
old
mine's
address.
wrong.
Oh, no.
What?
Why? Oh, well, yeah, it would be, wouldn't
You
it?
shouldn't have moved.
Really?
You should not-
Moved.
Oh, your address is wrong.
So
Why did you move?
Gotcha.
what is it now, Aaron?
Okay, so everybody
you wanna-
knows.
We'll send you a forming card. You can also email it.
You can email me
I'll send it to you. So
to accept with changes,
You'll
please.
know where to
Yes.
find you.
Yes, I make a motion to accept the trustee listing with Aaron's change that he will email to you.
Second.
motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay. So we talked about the parking lot expansion,
Tired.
tires, MBLC response to the
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that.
appropriate money and the groundbreaking. So
Yeah.
did we
Good job.
have a walkabout?
We're on fire.
We don't have a walkabout,
Okay.
because there's really not been any changes at, nothing's changed that needs to be done there at the at the common library. And there have been improvements to St. Andrews. The, trees are no longer, growing on the roof
Great.
in the
Yeah.
gutters. And,
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Did a great job.
you know, there has been a sweeping of the parking lot, although I think they could be getting that many places around that area right now. And, just things are slowly happening, but they are happening. We got our signage. I'm going to, ask a group in town if they will, donate a flag, because the flag
Oh, that's
is pretty grim.
Yeah. If you're gonna write them a letter, I found a solar powered light. So you put the solar panel on the flagpole and the light on the ground underneath, so we can also illuminate the
Okay,
flag.
lovely.
And it's like $250.
okay.
That would
Will you send me the
I
information?
will,
so-
yeah.
So I am gonna
You should ask
write
for
a
both.
letter to,
Yeah.
somebody in town, and I have written to them before, so.
Okay.
For other stuff.
Okay, so the only update from the Common 35 Grafton Common Library I heard was the Hornet's Nest, right?
Oh, that could.
Oh, and that was
Carol.
improved.
Yeah.
That's been
Taken care of.
improved.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Very good. And but there'll be a walkthrough with Andy.
We're gonna
soon.
look through Friday morning, yeah. But it's
Okay.
more like, what do we have to get out of here?
What
Yeah.
time are they doing?
Is it this Friday, did you
At
say?
9, yeah.
At
It's
9
Friday at
o'clock?
9. Are you available?
I might go to work late.
I thought it was next
Okay,
Friday.
that would be great to have you there.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought it
Oh.
was. Yeah, I have it down on the 4th.
You have it down for the 4th? I'm sorry.
Okay, so on the 4th,
Yeah, because you said next Friday,
so I will,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It is on the 4th.
because you said it's next.
Yes.
I will be there. Shouldn't
Okay.
take very long.
Okay, very good.
Bless you.
Okay, so, we don't have any, policies to review. How's it going on the newly formed policy committee?
I am very excited that I got the policy list today, so I'm going to dive into that. No, no worries. I'm super excited to see that, so I'm gonna go dive into it and try to come up with some timetables in terms of
Yeah.
when things will come up for review.
Yep.
And then report back to everyone and see if we can agree to a regular schedule for the ones that should be reviewed on a regular schedule.
So,
And-
do you have any, ones that you'd like to write soon?
Oh.
I know-
Let me look
yeah.
through the one with the current list first.
Yeah.
And then I will come up with a couple ideas for the ones I would like to write. Yeah. Or at least the policy subcommittee would like to take a crack at writing.
Yeah, because I know Beth had a few in draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think really what we need to look at, yeah, I think it's fine to review, older policy, but, where are the gaps? If there's a.
And
like a-
looking forward, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The two that you
Yeah.
approved last month were new ones.
yeah,
So,
okay,
we have to look at code of conduct. I sent a message to you
Okay, yeah.
and to Beth.
Yeah.
I think to you, possibly to Karen too, because there's an issue with the language around filming and taking photos in the building.
yeah,
We can't prohibit it. It's against the Constitution.
yeah,
For the press need to be able to come in and take photos.
Right.
So that really urgently needs to be changed. So I've sent that to council to look at. And I don't think we ever approved a security camera policy, and we need to
Okay.
do that next. I feel like that's kind of urgent for November.
So those could be like priority top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or October.
For October. Okay.
Yeah.
were those, were the security cameras moved?
So there's just 3. Yeah, so we have 3 in St. Andrews.
Yeah.
So it's just like 3 spaces, and that's it.
Any issues with theft in the new space, the current space?
There've been things that disappear, and then most of the time they come back.
Yeah,
So it's like the cases are empty, and we're like, where are they? And then we find a stack of things.
yeah,
And we're able to match them up for the most part.
that's weird.
Yeah.
What cases?
Well, so like a DVD case. So someone's taking video games,
Yes,
leaving the empty case on the shelf, and like going somewhere out of sight, taking the DVD or game disc out
Oh.
for some period of time. And then
just
we pull the
leaving.
cases and put a note on them, and then all of a sudden one day there's a stack of games that match up with those cases.
That's wild.
And where do they
Yeah.
find the games?
They might just be sitting on a shelf.
Got some fairies living in the library.
Yeah.
free.
So I mean, a free public library. But if you have you're an adult or a teenager or kid, I guess, with a card that's blocked and you have fines and no one's willing to pay those fines for you, then you can't use your card.
That's
so you're
the
gonna
only thing I was
take
thinking,
them
yeah.
out and bring them back, or maybe if it's music or video, you might be ripping it to save a copy at your house, which is illegal, and then bringing back the library copy when you're done with it. But we don't have.
It's altruistic theft.
It comes back for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you haven't
Yeah.
been there. How long has you been in the new space?
Since May, April, May,
Yeah.
May.
Middle of May.
Wow.
5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Goes fast.
Yeah. It will. It will continue to go fast.
okay.
Beth, can you remind us if so for the policies, like the electronic, are those stored in some Google Drive
Yeah,
that we
so-
have access to? Or
Yep.
is it, it's that,
Maybe it's just policy. I will go back and look and make sure everyone has access. The most current ones are on our library website.
great.
Yeah, and then I save a PDF version for staff to look at on our local network.
Okay.
But then there's a trustee folder that you don't have access to where I have all the versions and all the
Great.
drafts for archival
Okay.
purposes.
Okay.
And I did send the ones we approved last month to council to look at.
Right.
I don't think she'll have any changes, but if she does, we'll have to bring those back for her. She suggested this and this. Can we vote on it?
Okay.
And because we talked about in the future, we'll get them to her first, which is why we don't have anything new
Yeah.
for this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So on advocacy, I just wanted to bring up one item which we briefly talked about, maybe at last meeting or the meeting before, was a fine-free library. And if that's something that, you know, we want to support, then we need to kind of get our butts in gear and make sure we have some action items and start really pursuing that. I'm in favor of a fine-free library, and something that I'd like to pursue. And that was part of that that webinar. It wasn't solely focused on fine-free libraries, but it was more about barriers to access, and one being fines.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Any discussion? Are people generally in favor of supporting that?
Absolutely in favor.
Very supportive. Fines in general prevent a, you know, they're punitive and they prevent access in a lot of different ways. So this would be a wonderful way for the library to get ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and be supportive of our community, everyone in the community.
Yeah, my only question would be around items that are high use, whatever, the brand new, whatever, the new releases and stuff like that. How do you prevent someone just from holding on to them for?
You send them a bill, and then they can't check anything else out.
So that's like a different kind of.
Yeah, so when something is overdue to the point it hits the $10 max in fines on your card is stopped. You can't do ebooks, you can't do databases, you can't get museum passes, and you can't come in and check out other items until you bring those things back and then.
So the fines are sort
Put
of
up the
still
card.
collected. They're just
yeah.
not. You don't have to pay them off, but they're still
Yeah.
Just have
tagged
to
against
bring
you.
them back.
Okay.
Well, could that be handled? I mean, so you're talking about like when it's a 7-day, you only get to take it
Yeah,
out
or
for 7 days.
you've done it on CW Mars and it's from another library. Now you've got someone else's library stuff out, and maybe they don't have fine free.
Yeah, so I think you could.
Mine's more. I mean, I'm in favor of it. I'm just talking about the little
The
technical.
logistics of
Yeah.
it.
The card gets blocked both at, I think, both at a fine amount or at a overdue amount.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think.
And if
there's some-
somebody had a history of doing that, could you talk to them?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
We would
I
offer
could
them
see how
other
you could get into that by, before you know it, it's
Yeah.
2 weeks, and then,
do-
but
this
you
is
might do
the-
it more than once. I mean, on a book that is
Yeah.
supposed to be, you're only supposed to have it for a week.
Yeah, this isn't the first time people have done this, so
Yeah,
I think
no, that's what I
we
mean.
can look at
Exactly.
examples.
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
You know,
It's a
probably address a lot of
nationwide trend.
questions that.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So.
So we had patrons on Saturday who spend a lot of time selecting DVDs, and they spend a lot of time selecting them. But when they went to check out, they have so many DVDs at home that they couldn't check out. We couldn't even accommodate that. It was like $127 or something.
Yeah.
Because what had happened is they were so late that now you're charging.
For the
For the
actual
item.
movie, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
Now,
But
had
that's
they ever returned those movies?
They were going to go back, and they want a receipt when they bring it.
Oh, I know who you mean.
Yes.
It happens all the time. I don't know why they just can't get that.
Yeah, so.
That's what you want, right? You want them not to be able to check something out, so
Yeah,
that they
so
go
they
home and
return the
grab stuff
item.
and bring it home.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's
Exactly.
still those barriers for access, right? But not monetary, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
So if
so
we
you
get
can't-
the items back,
Yeah.
we drop the fee, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about this for a while,
Yes,
and so how do
Yeah.
we move it forward,
yeah.
Right.
is my question.
It
I
seems so.
don't know.
My budget is due, I think like October 20th, and then we get invited to a finance committee meeting in March.
Okay.
And it seems asking finance committee in March or possibly sooner, just by memo, the library would like to not be accruing fine money that gets turned over to the town. So will you please remove $8,000 or however much it is from the town's operating budget so that the library doesn't have to provide
Okay.
that money anymore?
Okay.
That
Let's
means
see what
you're going to be short 8,000?
Well, what I've said is I will find a way to cut $8,000 from my operating budget. So to make up for that fine money you're not going to get, that technically is probably reallocated to us somehow, just in the new fiscal year.
And I remember the last time you suggested that, we said, why should you have to cut it from your budget?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I would like to not have to cut.
But that's-
But if they come back with, but we need that money, we need to find it. We can do it, but find another source for that 8,000 or 6,000 or however much
They might,
it
I
is.
think things aren't
Which
there
they
all,
might, because things are tight.
and,
Yeah.
because the budget,
But it's
so,
$8,000.
okay, so
No.
this is the budget for 2021.
This will be budget for 2021. So we would be opening a new library, fine free.
Right.
Right, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
Do we need to make a motion to say that we would like you to write that memo to the finance committee? And with our support?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No one else on
Well-
the board can write the
Well,
memo?
it can't hurt.
Can I delegate it? Do I have to do it?
Or should it be better coming
Yeah.
from the board?
I think it
Yeah.
would be better coming from the
Oh,
board.
okay.
I agree.
Right.
The other piece to this is, you know, we talked about like modeling how this might work. You know, do we go through the motions of trying to model this, you know, as an action item from the board, with support from Beth? That would be something that we can do, you know, to kind of support that memo that we're sending them, because they, like you said, they may just come back and say, yeah, no, you know, we like, that's money that we take in, and we've always liked to have it, and we give it back to you in some way. So
Why don't you
so-
increase the fines?
so why is, you know, what's your reason behind this if we don't have like a solid
Yeah.
plan
Sure.
to
There's
document?
lots of research that shows that it doesn't
Yeah.
work. I mean,
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Martha Didi there at the
Yep.
MLBC or whatever.
Maura, yeah.
Maura, thank you.
Yeah.
She has hope, she's very passionate about it, has a lot of great information about it that would be
Yeah.
easy to.
It seems like all you need is what dollar amount, so it's $8,000.
I think
When I started, it was $8,000. We didn't used to do food for fines year round. And we didn't used to allow people an option, especially teenagers, to work off their overdue fines, like a one-time get out of jail free. You give us an hour service, we can knock off $10. So we didn't used to do some of those
so
things
what,
to alleviate fines.
so we don't
So
know.
I don't know what the amount is, because it's not part of my operating budget. So like,
Interesting.
I don't see the total number unless I dig really far into a town report.
So it could be like about 5,000.
It could be 10,000.
If that.
I don't know.
Well, then the finance
could be
committee can
1,000.
cost it, I mean. they-
So worst case scenario is
I mean,
that
I
we
can,
might
I can
have
get
to
that.
make it
number.
up.
I can get that number. No,
Eileen.
I can get the number. I'm just not in the habit of looking.
No,
for
no, I
it.
mean, we
We'll
would have
up
to make
the
up the
number.
money.
Just-
I mean, what's the worst case scenario that they might come back and say we can't afford that?
Finance committee figure out how
And then my response would be, then I will cut that amount of money from my operating expenditures to make up the difference.
Okay.
It's just, it's not a direct turnover though. It's not like the fine money comes in and they put it in a library
No,
account and then
it
hand
isn't.
it back to us next fiscal year. It just goes into the general fund, which is
So why don't
fine.
we just
It's
not
state
worry about
law.
that piece and just say we put together a letter that says we want to go fine
Yes.
free?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
And then they would have to justify where the money goes
Right.
if it doesn't come in, so.
Okay, I'll draft that letter. If somebody wants to
Thank you.
review it for me,
I'll get the fine amount.
that would be helpful. But maybe you and I
Yeah.
can take that on.
Yeah, we can do that.
Interesting.
Okay.
And I can get last 5 years.
Do we need any motion for this, or?
Um,
I would
Yeah,
say
right.
we
That
should just
says
plan
yes.
on
no, I
having a
don't, I
motion
don't
next
think-
month.
Yeah,
Yeah, have a
That we all-
motion.
Beth is nodding.
To
Yes.
accept.
You need a motion.
okay.
So you're gonna write the letter and then we'll motion whether we agree to it.
Correct,
Yes.
next month.
Okay.
That
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
take it as an
we'll
action
do
item
that.
in the advocacy subcommittee to write
Right.
write that draft
Yep. Yep.
for Fine Free Library. Awesome.
Yes.
Very good. The MLTA update.
Yeah, so, all right, we are now officially as a board members of the Mass Library Trustees Association.
Great.
The check
Thank you for
cleared
taking care of
and
that.
thank you, Beth, for your
Did you
help
get
on
reimbursed?
getting, at some point I'll get reimbursed. I know how long this takes, but finally finding the
It's
form
going.
that works and everything else is
Yes.
great, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
And every year, the Mass Library Trustees Association puts together an annual meeting. And this year it will be on Saturday, November 16th, from 9:30 to 11:30 at 1:30 at the Shrewsbury Public Library. So, 9:30 to 1:30 at the Shrewsbury Public Library. It's free. It's close by. Lunch will be provided. And at the last meeting that we had at the Situate Town Library, which was nice, we tweaked the theme of the meeting a little bit to essentially the working title right now is The Library of the Future, Innovations in Community Engagement, because a lot of conversations happen about all the sorts of things that libraries loan out, like hotspots and the 3D printers that you can use and the passports and all these other things that I think a lot of people associate libraries with just books and movies maybe, and not these other things that we do.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that having all the trustees come there and learning how ways that, and librarians all know this, but as trustees, learning to advocate with the community to say these are the other things that people do. And one of the things that libraries do is can play a role in the census, for example, the 2020 census. So what happens at these events is that there's a panel and there's also a keynote speaker. And so Maura has found a keynote speaker for us. I'm afraid I don't know the name exactly, but she's, I believe, the chair of the count, what's it called? I can't even read my handwriting. Hold on. What is it? The complete count. The complete count. So she's a leader in the complete count for Massachusetts. She'll be the keynote speaker talking about the role of libraries and all of this. And then the panel will be a group of people who can talk about the library of things and the other things that libraries do for the trustees to learn about.
I said, what was the date again on that?
November 16th, it's a
November
Saturday.
16th, okay.
Yeah, I'll
November
plan on
6th.
being there.
Oh, I'm still in 2020.
What,
It's a great group.
Yeah, so what time?
9:30 to 1:30.
Yeah, and we did get a really nice photo op last year with the MBLC honchos.
Yes.
So that was cool to get to actually put a face, a name with a face, because
I'm sorry, what's the date?
I don't know if
I think it's Saturday, November 16th.
so is it Rob
Saturday, yeah.
Rob
There is a Rob.
Favini?
Yeah.
So
I forget what his role is. James Lonergan is
Yeah.
the director, but
Yeah.
Rob does some kind of liaison stuff.
Does
Yeah.
it end at
Public,
1?
he's a public
Okay.
face.
yeah, so Rob was there as well, and he's the one that sends out all that really nice trustee support newsletters. And I spoke to him about it, and I said, "Well, these are really great, resources." And he says, "Well, I'd like it if other people would also send out stuff too." So he encouraged their trustees to support each other with that sort of forum, because I think it does reach a lot of trustees, especially the ones that are no longer trustees and want to be taken off the lists.
Yes. Well, and on
Get a lot of those.
on that note about the trustees, there'll be I'm working on the website for them for the MLTA, and there'll be an unveiling. They want to do ribbons and scissors, whatever. So the website's live, but it's not ready yet, so I won't show you. But it's for trustees by trustees is our tagline, and the idea is
Nice.
to have information on there for
Oh, that's great.
trustees.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
Thank you.
And not
For
fair-
like a blog about
Yeah.
going fine free. What did we learn?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Community
So.
of practice.
That's great.
Okay.
So you all might want to think about content ideas for this. I can do the website. I'm not doing the content.
So, sorry, what time was the meeting?
9:30 to 1:30,
Thank you very much.
Yep. and there'll be lunch, and you have to register for it. I can send you the link
Yep.
if you want.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. We are doing very well tonight, so let's keep the momentum.
You telling me not to talk too much?
Oh, yeah.
August was great.
That we already
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks. We were open.
Thank you.
And it was great, thanks.
And no one got sick.
No one, yeah.
No one got sick.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. Everything was down, but only a little bit. So we had 5 weeks of summer programming, 3.5 in July and 1.5 in August. So because programming was down, then circulation went down for everything a little bit. Donna took a 3-week vacation the end of the month and into September, so she did a ton of ordering and processing. I think this is a record. She processed 1,200 items in August, which is huge. So visitor count was down a little bit. Online, we had a little bit more action. A few less computer. Again, the number in red means that it went down, but it honestly, it did not go down very much. Reference questions were up. Museum passes, because so many of those museums are outdoors. They get hit pretty hard in the summer. We gave out a lot of new cards. Average number, I think volunteers barely changed. So
I was just looking at the number, comparing the numbers from last month to this month.
oh yeah, yeah. So so program was down significantly. I think we had like 875 people attend programs in July. But again, the bulk of our summer programming was in that month. So it makes sense.
You find,
So that's the shit. I've been hanging these outside of my office for the public to look at.
Nice.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, proctoring, is proctoring different than tutoring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it is. So do you find an increase in
Yes.
tutoring in the new space?
So we don't count tutors.
Yeah.
So because they're all independent,
Because they're
we're not
independent,
actually
then
tutoring
you're
anybody
not
as a staff. We provide access to tutor.com because we don't have that
Right.
skill set.
Yeah.
The proctoring is people who are taking either distance learning, usually
testing.
distance learning, and they're
Right.
coming in and they need somebody with a master's to supervise and make sure they're, being honest with their test taking. And apparently there's one college, or maybe more than one, where you have to pre-qualify as a proctor. So it just went out on one of the director's listservs. Can some more people please, get your staff to qualify through X college so that we're not taking the bulk of these students? So, yeah, if you wanted to
pre-qualified, so-
volunteer your time, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
So Heidi was going to add at least one to her repertoire. Yeah, she usually does a couple a month. And passports was down over the summer, but the busy season is usually July through December. So we're starting to see that pick up significantly. And we have until the end of the year we have 5 agents now to be retrained.
I have a question. So will you let Heidi know that Danielle is available for
Yes.
proctoring?
Sure.
No,
Or,
great.
I mean, I can do it, I just didn't, I can
Go
do
ahead.
that.
Then
Or-
I have a
or-
long
or-
list,
yeah.
so sure.
Oh, okay.
I'll let Heidi know.
I can come
Heidi know.
visit and, yeah.
That works too. Oh, that's really cool. It's showing me my next slide on my screen. Children's Services busy summer reading program. The most exciting thing was at the end of the month, maybe beginning of this month, they did pull all of their raffle prize winners. So people have been coming in to pick up their gift card prizes. They felt the numbers were down a little bit because of our limited parking. Actually close to half because of the location. So we had less people with the Mr. Kim program. And because of the small size of the program room, they really had to limit the number of attendees for each program. So the goal for next year, Sarah asked, put in a budget request for more programming money so they could just do duplicate sessions.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
take my kids to the story time, and it's a small.
A small room, yeah. But one of my concerns is if they duplicate session. I mean, for at least 2 days, they had like back-to-back programming, and it takes a lot. It's very intense. It takes a lot of staff time
Yeah,
to do that.
because I know like preschool story time on Tuesdays is back to back.
We could do just programming and still not meet, I think, all the demand.
And there's no way that we could, if we went to Unibank, do we still do that?
Unibanks, but yeah, we do. We do it on Monday. In their space, like it's not
It's not that big,
that
it's
much
just
bigger.
a
It's a little bit
conference room.
bigger, and
They
they
do silly science too,
Yeah.
and it's actually
it's
more
bigger?
conducive than because
yeah, it's also it's a
the kids
nicer
do the
space.
circle time and then their activities. They have that big conference table that they can do that at.
I mean, we did we do at Apple Tree Arts when we were in the temporary space, and that worked because there's still parking. So I mean, it could always be an option that we try that depending on how the fall story session goes, or find another location. The staff did say that it was really great to have so much programming on site this summer for them, just from a logistics perspective, that they weren't packing their car,
Oh, yeah.
being out of the building and not available, and then not having patrons have access to the collection, the related collection,
Yeah.
depending on the program. You're doing a space program, you
Go
put out
up in
the
the
space
building.
books, and then they go out. So they did Lego engineering in the sensory table, so that's what the picture is. Dungeons and Dragons, the kids are the ones who run it and ask for it, and we had like 20 people all school year, and then it just took a nosedive over the summer. And we actually had a parent and child show up thinking that a librarian was running it as the dungeon master, and didn't understand. Well, the dungeon master is a teenager, and he didn't come, so there's no program. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we had to revamp the language, but we also decided to buy some put together character sheets so there'd always be an activity, even if a dungeon master doesn't show up. And we bought some library dice, so we have house dice now. Which is exciting.
What age group is that for again?
It's for grade 6 and up.
Oh, 6 and up.
Grade
Oh,
6 and
okay.
up. Yeah. So technically, like 13 is supposed to be the unattended child age, but we figure 6th graders need to be able to come. So we let them into that special once a month Friday program so that they can be with their peers.
What age is the unattended?
Yeah, because I think,
So unattended child is 0 to 7. You have to be right there next to your child.
Yeah.
Like not Josie's in the children's room and I'm in my director's office, but I have to take my laptop and sit with her because she's 7. She won't be 8 till March. And then 8 to 13, the parent has to be in the building, but you don't have to be right next to the kid. You can be browsing an adult while your child is in the program. It's coming, it's coming. And then 14 and up, you're allowed to be completely unattended without an adult to be responsible for you. But I think you have to be, I forget if we put 16 or 18 to be watching a younger child.
Right.
So you can't have an 8-year-old with a 14-year-old because they're technically not really old enough to be responsible. Yeah.
Interesting.
We still have a lot of issues with unattended children. Sometimes a parent has just stepped around the corner to browse something. Sometimes they're taking the younger sibling to the restroom. Like, no, take them all.
Yeah.
It's a big bathroom. You can all
Yeah.
go.
That's hard when you have 2 children and one needs to use the bathroom and you're the only
Yeah.
parent there. I understand. It's,
Yeah.
but it's something that you have to really remember to do, and you can't just leave your kids with the librarians.
No, we just can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Lots of programs for adults as well. These are all Heidi's book discussion titles. She did space theme because the whole summer was space themed. We did. We had a Creatives Commons program. It was kind of drop in where people could come and do different projects. And one of our patron comments was, "I took it home and I was up until like 2 a.m. finishing that cool project." So people got a lot out of it. We have a book wagon that goes to Crescent Manor once a month. That's one of Susan Leto's programs. She checked out 46 books in August to the residents there. So it's not always that high traffic, but for some reason August, was a big number.
You call it a book wagon?
So it's a little red wagon. We used to take it to the senior center, but the seniors who go to the senior center are really mobile and they can get around town. And that's kind of the point of the senior center. Come to us, right? So we go and we see the same faces, which is wonderful. But they probably just visited us last week and they don't need more books yet. So we decided to hit the nursing home where it was a more captive audience and housebound audience. And that's addition to the delivery program that we have for people who can't get out either long term or just that month or temporarily. We do have a service where we can bring materials to people who can't get out. And we have volunteers who drive things for them.
Nice.
Grafton ukulele musicians, for those people who come, it's going to be on site here at the Municipal Center in October because there's an event at Apple Tree Arts. So, there's our lots and lots of books added by tech services. Flying books. We did put out bug spray at your suggestion. We had one for staff and one for the public. No one has taken it. It's still out on the porch.
Have people been using
I'm
it?
psyched. I don't know.
Okay.
I came back
Curious.
one night after a meeting and there were people standing outside and sitting outside waiting for a ride. Young people. And I said, please come in. Don't block the doorway, but you can stand right here in this window and watch for your ride. Like, you know there's like a mosquito thing happening, right? Come inside. So they complied. I did say we had bug spray, but they both came inside. And then this is the cool thing, mobile that Heidi made that's hanging so that you don't cut the corner. You can see the yellow tape.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that there's a step and then there's a 6 or 8 inches. And people are like tripping trying to get to there's a person at a
Cutting the
desk
corner,
beyond the stack
Right,
of boxes.
right,
There's a person at the desk around the corner here.
So
So we don't want them to be so close that they're going to fall and hurt themselves.
Yeah.
She
But
made
yeah,
that?
she's really creative.
she did.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah. I like the upside down Alice.
Yeah.
I know.
And then other updates with staff. Allison Kutcher went to an all-day virtual conference, SLJ, School Library Journal, Teen Live, and they talked a lot about diversity and how to assess your collection to make sure that it is a diverse collection. So that's a project that she wanted to take on, which spurred me to say, I need to do staff reviews. So start writing some goals, and I've started to touch base with all the people who I'm responsible for reviewing and letting them know we are doing that this fall.
Wow.
Yeah. It's usually an easy process. If there's an issue, we deal with it. So there's not going to be surprises for anybody. But it's an opportunity to say, what are you doing? You want to do something new? Great. What are you going to drop? Because you can't just keep adding new things. And does it fit the library's mission or our long-range plan? Which is going to be up for review. And we're going to need to find a panel of people to work on it in January, by the way.
That's coming up, yeah.
Yeah, so we're thinking about names. Sue Witham had resigned to take a new position closer to home. She was still on call as a sub, but has decided that she just hasn't been able to make it back, and she officially, finally resigned. So her hours, 4 hours a week, will go into the sub pool, which we've been drawing on that anyway. And then Lee McCullough did submit a formal resignation. She's been out on family medical leave with a family issue and just has not been able to return. So we advertised that
Who
mid.
was that?
Lee McCullough.
Yeah, we haven't seen
She's
her in a
very
while.
sweet.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Lee. I
Yeah.
said Lima. Lee.
Lee McCullough.
Yep.
So we posted her position, and I think we have about 8 applicants, and we're going to start looking at those Monday, October 7th, and then scheduling interviews to fill that position. It's 2 nights, and every other Saturday. We've added Wowbrary, which is a library newsletter that does readers advisory. Unfortunately, the week we added it was great, and then the next week Donna went on vacation, and there weren't any new books added. So you're all automatically subscribed, I think, if you're part of the.
Yeah, that was kind of odd.
It was terrible timing, and I wish we had thought that through better. But keep hanging there, because in about another week and a half, your Wowberry, which gets delivered to your inbox on Wednesday, will have new titles, and you just click on the link, and it brings you right to the catalog to request the item. And Allison was doing this by hand. So I think it was like $500 for the year. It's going to save a ton of staff time. It's relevant to the local collection. And I think it's going to be a really great tool. And this was like a no-log thing that we turned into a yes. A patron subscribed to another library's version, raved about it. We checked it out and went, we can afford that. Let's do it.
I guess I don't understand. What's the purpose?
It's a reader's advisory newsletter. So it's an alert that you're getting. It says, here's a new book. And it's this genre, and if it's a genre you like, then you say, oh, okay, I want to know more, I want to check that out. So Reader's Advisory it's not a recommendation, it's a suggestion. If you like this type of book, this type of story, this type of narration, this plot, this setting, here's some things that are similar that you might like. So it's just an alert for new materials that we've bought, but it's categorized, so if you don't care about history books, you can skim down and look at the books about science instead, just by clicking on the links on the side.
Okay.
It's an alert.
You know, Ben has borrowed that movie,
Was it
and
good?
he's watched it like 5 times.
It must be good.
He keeps
Endorsed.
watching it.
Yeah, my husband too.
John Wick,
It's
you mean?
Oh, yeah, 3,
I haven't seen the
3.
third one yet.
Well, you can guess what
we own
happens in it.
Yeah.
I've had
Oh,
to
are
witness
there,
all 4 times, you know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other comments, why are there no lights? It's dark in here. I love the garden, it's so beautiful. Where are the little free libraries in town? Didn't know the Center Library was closed. This was August 7th.
Yeah.
I like your selections, even the discards. My kids love the book I made at the last Altered Books workshop. You'll be happy I got obsessed and stayed up until 4 a.m. working on stuff I hadn't finished from the Creative Commons program. The no log for this month. Why don't you have lollipops? You should have lollipops. I'm like, we're not a bank.
It's not that
I
kind of
did.
a place.
So I went with
Yeah, not-
Allison and Sarah to the high school the 13th, I think, Friday the 13th, to do a library card drive. And we advertise it in advance, so kids who have their card or will let us look them up in the computer to prove they have a card get a lollipop. So there were kids who were waiting in line, but the bell rang, so I said, just come in with your card and we'll find the Dum Dum stash and we will give you a lollipop for September, since it's National Library Card Sign Up Month.
Yeah.
We had requests for Southwick Zoo passes, which we distributed as fairly as we could with like a lottery system, but we ran out. They're really expensive, and it's not even that huge of a discount, but people love it. So that was a no. Canopy is a streaming media service. We have Hoopla instead, hoopladigital.com.
Yeah.
So it's comparable, but we don't have Canopy. I don't know that they sell to libraries, but I'll look into it and see what the
I
pricing
think
is.
Springfield has Canada.
Okay, I can get in touch with them. We also wouldn't want to duplicate
Right.
services, but it could turn out that it's easier to use than Hoopla, or has a different component of publishers, essentially. Yeah, different collections that they work with. So it's worth investigating. We have people still taking things off the hold shelf and walking out the door thinking they're checked out on their card, and they're not. You have to check them out before you go. We need to put out a suggestion box. I think I've had 2 months in a row now. People said, where's the paper suggestion box? So I think we need to have one. We'll just cover a box with wrapping paper and find a place to stick it. We take input all the time, in person at the desk or through info@graftonlibrary.org. People can also reach out to our board members and come to this meeting for public input too, but I know sometimes you want it to be anonymous. So we'll get something up so that we can do that. Yes, log. Yes, we know the parking lot is dangerous. Yes, you can visit the children's room anytime. We never close for breaks. We're just open all the regular hours that the library's open. Someone asked if they could have a paperclip. We have this great, we used to call it the Kinko's Corner, where you could, use the laminator and the hole punch and the stapler and borrow a pair of reading glasses or a magnifier. And that's just set up all the time. People keep missing the book return bin as they come in. But other people know it's there and they just aren't sure what they can put in it. So just for the record, things like ukuleles should not go in the book drop. But museum passes can, and both of those items can also be brought inside and put in that little black plastic bin that says, please return all items here. I have nothing coming soon, apparently, but I'm happy to take questions. That's the end of my list.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yes,
Any questions?
always very complete. Did you send that out?
No, I usually don't. I usually just send out the statistics
Right,
and the
yeah.
budget and then
And
any.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm usually working on it at 5 o'clock before our meeting. Yeah. But I send it out afterwards so that it gets
that's
put
good.
with our minutes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
so
That's
it
good.
should
We
be
can
on.
read through it again.
Yeah, it should be archived on our website.
That's good.
You did a lot of work on it,
Thank
so we
you.
should.
Yes, that's good.
10 pages.
Okay, well, we're getting to the end of our meeting. The last item here is citizens' input. We don't have any visitors tonight, but we did receive a comment from C-Click-Fix. I'm not quite sure how we received that. Was that just something that,
Did you just happen to look? Like, how did you find it?
yeah,
Dan Kushner sent it to me. I don't know how he got it.
I mean, you can go on the site. I just went on the site,
Yeah.
didn't see it, but I just wasn't sure
Yeah.
if you had heard it from
No, I
someone
don't have
directly.
any like alert set up.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
'cause
I think you might be able to have, if you have a C-Click-Fix account, so
Yeah.
I get alerts if anybody reports anything on or around my street.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
so I wonder if we should look into that as a,
Something-
as a trustee organization, because this is the first I've seen that used as a venue to communicate something
Yeah.
to us, so.
And I get things that are just kind of general and get directed to the library. But I don't have an alert either for our
But that's
address.
something
I could
that,
set that
like,
up.
Tim's office has identified it and then forwarded to you, right?
Yeah.
The municipal
But
gets
this they
it,
didn't.
and then they forward it.
sign
Like
it.
I reported roadkill one time, and it alerted me. Thank you. We reported that to animal control.
That's an automatic setup though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something like IT, internal, automatically just goes to Coughlin. Tim doesn't see it.
Gotcha.
He might get a CC, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have to delegate it because it's just an IT thing. DPW things just go to DPW. So sometimes the categories actually send it to the department and just CC the town administrator. And then there's a catch-all.
That makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, there was, something directed at the library posted on C-Click-Fix, so I'd like to just read it. The title is No Separation of State and Church. It says, on one of the entrances to the temporary location of the Grafton Public Library, they have a religious cross above the door, which the board of directors of the library decided to leave up. This I find to be an issue because there should be a separation of church and state. This issue is a complete contradiction to that belief and is inconsiderate of everyone that lives in the town or visits the public library who is not a Christian. Okay, so,
Is that the cross they're referring to then?
Yes.
The
So
large
there's
one?
two. There's this large one over the red
Yeah.
door, which is not an entrance. It's an emergency exit. So people aren't coming and going that way. And then
And
up at
the
the top of
steeple.
the steeple, there's also a cross.
yeah, so I'd just like to acknowledge this comment and that we have, we are looking into it and we've engaged town council to help us review that.
Great. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Okay,
Okay, so that was Katie, and I need your signature on something,
very good.
and Karen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, great.